Okay, so we've been wetting this down and it's pretty good and wet. I'm going to wet it down 2 more times. Here's how you know when it is actually wet enough. Let me show you. What you want to see is when you spray it, see how it looks damp? When you spray it and it doesn't look like it's changed much. And see, this is where you can see the bricks are really well saturated in here. But I want to make sure, because what happens with the plaster is that plaster literally is very, very absorbent. It's going to actually suck the moisture out of stuff. And so as it's drying, that basically creates a suction on the brick that makes a permanent bond. And what happens over time is basically the lime, which is crushed limestone, goes back to being rock again. I know it's crazy, but that's literally how it works. And they've been doing this technique for thousands of years. Now, if you remember, some of you guys may be new to the channel and things, but you'll remember how, because there was a bad roof leak up there, this plaster and stuff was cracked completely. It was just terrible. Over here, you can see a lot of the bricks and things. The house was actually blown out over here in the corner and stuff. And so with the plaster on here, oh my goodness, how nice it looks. Now, shout out to Limeworks, who basically gave me, I got a hour-long crash course literally from them. Between that and buying the materials from them and looking online is how basically I've learned how to do lime plastering. I am getting better at it as far as the finishing and things goes, being able to get closer to the edges. In fact, I'm going back over and doing some things over again, just kind of touching up with the finished plaster, which I got from Limeworks as well. But for the most part, I can't complain. It's not cracked, so I did something right. And when you go over to it, it's amazing, because as you go through here, it's solid. It's plastered walls on top of the bricks, and so that should be here a good long time. Well, good evening, good people. Mark Holmes here, and I mixed up my plaster. It's pretty good on here. I've got my frame ready to go right here. I'm going to do basically a scratch coat first here, and see how nice it's sticking, and then I'll put another coat on later. What I'm learning a lot more about plastering, having worked on this house, being a novice, and getting better at getting the consistency of the plaster better. Now we've got the horsehair in here as well. And this should be actually pretty easy. This is really sticky. It is really sticking to the brick. I got the brick good and wet. And what I want to do is I want to flatten this close to the fascia that's on here. So here it's like about 1 inch thick it's going to end up being. At the bottom it's more like 1/2 inch, actually more like 1/4 inch. So that's where putting the frame in is helping me to use that as a guide. And what I want is, I don't want a lot of this on the interior of the brick. I really just want to get the fascia done. I'm amazed at how sticky this is. Goodness gracious. The other thing I've also learned too is with the lime plaster, or the lime putty, what I'm learning is the longer it has to actually sit there, the better it is. So if you can have it set for like a month, it's going to make it that much stickier. And the nice thing is, I made this lime putty a couple of months ago. That lime putty will be good for a year or two, as long as you put the water on top of it and keep it from freezing. So I actually have it in the crawl space downstairs, or actually I guess you would call it the cellar. Have it down in the cellar. I've got a couple of buckets of it, so when I need to mix them some more, I've got the marble dust, and I just need to get sand to make more of the mortar or the render. This is where it's really, really thick. We can throw shit on the wall and see if it sticks. This is almost like cookie dough. Yeah. Yeah, because it's that soot is
The sooner I can get to that, the better, because the paint will dry.
well, I mean, if you want to go ahead and hit those, you know, look and see. I'm gonna have to redo like the whole thing here.
Oh, is this for this thing in here? Is this
Yeah.
gonna be a drawer?
Yeah, how do you think it's gonna come out and be a shelf?
Oh, it's a flip down.
It's a drawer that has a flip up that's inside of it.
Ah,
It's got to be able to pull out and go back in. Alright, so we're getting this first coat on here flattened out. Using the sponge float, kind of smooth it out a little bit more. Yeah, I know. That's the problem. That's what I said. We may have to. That's soot.
It's still cleans it up.
Okay. Well, you're a better cleaner than I.
It's soot.
It's on the front porch. I put it out on the front porch. I forgot to change the batteries.
Get the little red ladder.
I didn't use it.
I pulled it out of the laundry room for you yesterday.
What did I use it for?
There. That is you. Walk right, stop. Walk right through it.
Oh, you did?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is my biggest thing.
First. 200, huh? So we have to paint it with 200-year-old slips. Okay. All right, we're gonna let this set up, and then we're gonna come back through it, and we will smooth it out a little bit more. This isn't perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but it's okay because we're gonna scratch coat it and then put another coat on top of it. This is basically to try and bind everything together, so that way the strength will be there. And then we'll go through and we're going to fill in more in there. There'll be more to fill in there for the next coat, flatten it out, and then we'll use the finish plaster that the marble does to give us our final coat. We're going to take this plaster right here, and we're going to go ahead and cover it with water so it'll be good for us tomorrow. Definitely a different look than what it was, wouldn't you say, baby? This is the first coat.
Awesome.
Feels hot in here to me, baby.
It is warm in here.
Okay. All right. We'll come back later. Wow. That does look a lot better. That's just the first coat, and then it's going to be built out in there. But now it looks so nice and symmetrical.